Right, guys, welcome back to the Independent Investor Channel. My name is Ryan. We're putting these videos out on a weekly basis to provide you some insight on how much dividend income I'm producing per week. For a lot of you guys that are new investors, I'd like you to just sit back and enjoy these videos for what they are, and that is a potential for what you could have. If you're not an investor in the stock market, we've all been there. Okay, we all started from some place, and I provide these videos to show what is possible in investing, how much a portfolio of my size can render from a week or a monthly or a yearly basis, and it just provides a little bit of motivation for those folks that maybe don't understand the power of dividend investing. This will help provide some transparency on how much a dividend portfolio can render from week to week. So guys, I'm going to drop you into the account. Please enjoy. I've said many times, I don't think there's a better time to be an investor than now. And I think had I had this information before, and I had the ability to tune into a channel like mine on YouTube and actually see what's possible in investing in such a short amount of time, I think I would have jumped all over it. And I know there's a lot in my subscriber base that have been with me for a long time, and they've grown and evolved with me. And I think if they've paid close enough attention, they would have been able to take a lot of the information, feel motivated to start an investing program for themselves. And the beauty of it is that hopefully in a relatively short amount of time, you're able to look at your own portfolio and start to really validate for yourself. I think a lot of people get involved with investing and they really don't know why they're investing. And I think it's super important, as little a validation as you can find. And that means looking at your account sometimes and seeing when those dividends are paid, being aware of how your portfolio is working. I think a lot of people have bought into some traditional approaches to investing, and that is just to start it and forget it. And I think that's what the financial institutions have really conditioned a lot of people to buy into. And I think as a self-directed investor, you don't really have to buy into that at all. You can be as aware and pay as close attention as you want to investing. So in this video, I'm going to roll through the week's dividends payments for this week, starting June 14th of 2020, working up to the time of filming of this video on June 21. So this is 7 days of dividends. I think this would probably carry more bang for the buck if I did it once a month, but I think for visibility's sake, for a new investor that's looking at this and is like, wow, how much does a dividend portfolio render on a weekly basis? Obviously, you can take and project these dividends out as the dividends are increased over time, how much renderings you're getting from week to week, and how much you can potentially forecast to get month in, month out, and more importantly, year in and year out. I've got this dividend portfolio dialed in to about $9,000 a year, and that will steadily grow over time as we grow the portfolio. But let's kind of get into this, guys. This is going to be one of those things that I roll out from week to week, and it's really opened my eyes to the power of dividends and the power of how a portfolio in a passive nature can provide you some income. And so I'll scroll to the bottom here and show you the bottom line, $221.57, not too shabby for the week. The renderings came from these holdings, minus the one entry there for the anemic dividend or the interest payout that you can see there in the account. So pretty pathetic, to be honest with you. And this is part of the reason why you want to put your capital to risk, because this 15-cent payout here is indicative of what the banks are paying account holders only to take your money and invest it the way that I'm declaring could be invested as a direct connect to the stock market. We'll hit this thing off with ticker symbol RTX. This dividend paid twice. I did trade around the position. It is settled now within one of the Roth IRAs. I believe it's mine. Yes, it is. So this is actually settled in mine, and I did own it in the dividend portfolio just long enough, and I wasn't even trying to do this, but I owned it past ex-dividend date, and it did end up paying those renderings $23.75. Those will just go to cash, and that's fine. This
RTX dividend is actually set for dividend reinvestment within the Roth. That's fine too. This next holding, Home Depot, paid a 15.12, so that's pretty cool. Home Depot's just been on fire. Get some killer appreciation with Home Depot, but 15.12 to reinvest back into the portfolio. The big one here that I do want to talk about briefly is Duke Energy. Duke, I own a larger position of. This is actually the dividend rendering that's been paid in the taxable brokerage account. So this $70.88, man, that's a whopping dividend. Holy moly, paid 4 times per year. Quarterly $70.88, that's incredible, man. So almost 1 full share of the stock free. I can't emphasize enough. And I did strategically enter into some of these regulated utilities to because I'm not in the bond portfolio anymore, and I'm kind of looking at these 2 holdings in the regulated utilities to supplement some of that dividend income, get some capital appreciation where I'm not getting that in the bond exposure. So extremely safe, extremely conservative on these investments, but a little more aggressive than establishing a bond portfolio. I just don't think bonds are a place that you want to be nowadays, and I get that better exposure through the regulated utilities. So Duke, out of the 2, Southern Company is the other. That paid last week. For those of you guys that tuned into that video, you caught that. Oh, Realty Income, man, Old Ironside, holy smokes. This company, if I were to have known how incredible this company was to own, look at that, 35.21, that's on an average, and that's a monthly payout, guys. That's incredible. Investing, man, it doesn't have to be rocket science. You don't need to be finding the next best thing. If this encourages you to invest, to make this passive income the way I'm declaring to you guys, then we're doing our job here. And that's exactly the message we want to convey on the channel here. Next, McDonald's at $25.43, one of those buy and hold forever stocks that I own. Realty Income Core as well. So the first one paid out in the joint account, which I did sell. So I owned that past ex-dividend date and then reestablished the position here at 100 shares. So $23.30 paid in the Roth. So these are tax-protected dividends that I actually have set up for dividend reinvestment. And the final 2, DuPont Dumors as well in materials, as well as Corteva in materials. Just a small stipend of a dividend here, but we own those shares long as well. And that'll roll out the dividend review here for the week at $221.57 for the week. Not too shabby. Nothing to shake a stick at. With that, guys, I'll send you back to YouTube. We'll conclude the video. Thank you so much.
All right, guys, so we've come back out of the dividend portfolio. Hope you enjoyed. It was a great week. You can't scoff. A little over $200 of renderings in the portfolio. Super stoked. When I first started investing, I could have never, ever envisioned having the power to make this kind of money week in and week out. Now, the dividends do fluctuate. That's why I'm going to be rolling this out as a pretty consistent product on the channel. I think it's a good, quick insight to the portfolio. It answers that very simple question that I get a lot. How much can a portfolio render in weekly dividends or monthly dividends or yearly dividends? And here's your answer. This provides you that insight, especially from my perspective. You guys know how I seek my exposure to the stock market, and it helps providing those updates on how the portfolio is performing and how much the dividends are being paid from a week-to-week basis. So guys, if it's your first time to the channel, man, subscribe to the message. Help us support what we're throwing down here on the channel. Leave your comments at the bottom of the video. And you want to share the message, absolutely. Bring them onto the channel. We'll help motivate them, get them kind of started on the prospects of investing and get them started off on the right foot. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into the video, and good luck in your investment future.